Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. And today I'm going to do a short, brief video upon request. I've gotten quite a few of my viewers asking me about, how did you learn how to play bass? And when are you going to put together a DVD lessons for us bass players? And unfortunately, I'm not because I look at it like this: the right person for the right job. I'm just not the right person for that job, because the way that I learn bass is kind of not traditional. So I really don't want to try to recommend anybody doing what I did. I'm going to tell you how I learned, and just that. There are a lot of people on YouTube that you can find. I forgot off the top of my head. I'll probably try to put a link down here at the bottom. There's a guy in England. He's a bass player, great bass player. I think you can learn a lot from him as far as playing bass. But this is how it started for me. I started off traditionally as a trumpet player. And actually, from time to time, I still play a little trumpet or sax in my band because I like doing a little solo thing on the sax. But I quickly abandoned that because the wind instrument it takes a lot out of you physically. I mean, you got to blow it, your jaws get big, and you can sometimes literally feel the microscopic veins bursting in your neck when you're playing. Because I used to feel that when I was playing when I was a teenager. So I quickly abandoned that. Then I started to play bass. And I studied bass for like maybe a year or so with an instructor. And I remember the day that I stopped because to be an instructor, you got to have patience. To be a teacher, you have to have patience. And I was doing something, and apparently I wasn't doing it right. And he kind of screamed at me, "No, you don't do it like that. Play it, squeeze it like you squeezing some chick's ass." And that's what he actually told me. That was the last time I went to his class, because I'm like, if I knew how to play, I wouldn't be here. And I'm trying to learn, and you screaming at me, and I'm not having that nonsense. My father don't even scream at me, okay? Now, he might whoop my ass when I ain't doing right, but he don't scream at me. So I'm not allowing you to be screaming at me. So I stopped going. And I was getting bored at the time anyway, because I'm like, one note at a time. It just wasn't doing nothing for me. So I started to learn how to play guitar. I went to various amount of guitar teachers, and I was slowly learning, but I just felt that they weren't teaching me what I needed to know immediately to learn the stuff off the radio. And I've given you that spiel, so I'm not gonna go into that spiel again. But I started becoming a pretty good guitar player, because I'm like, for me, guitar is where it's at, because I want to play multiple notes. I want to play chords, because that's how you build songs. You build songs on chords, not one note at a time. So it would be in my best interest to become a guitar player versus just a bass player, because it's just you got more versatility as far as writing is concerned. So I got pretty good, and my ear kicked in. And once my ear kicked in, I could hear a note, or somebody could strike a note on the guitar, and I can find it on the guitar, on the bass. And guess what? You can find it on any other instrument. You can find that note on the piano, find it on the sax, And so I started to develop my ear. I mean, my ear got so good because I was already a bass player from the beginning. And I've always liked it, everybody's contribution. Because there's some people, they just good guitar players. They don't know nothing about bass, don't want to be bothered with it, don't want to be bothered with the keyboards or anything. They just tunnel vision towards the instrument, which is fine. But I've always had an interest in, what is the keyboard player doing? What chords are he using? What is the bass player doing? What notes is he playing? What is the drummer doing? Always had that in me even as a kid. So once again my ear developed, I just used to be able to listen to the records and hear the bass notes. So I just played them. And that's how I really basically became a bass player, just by when my ear kicked in after studying guitar, I was just able to play everything that I heard, whether it was on guitar, whether it was on bass, whether it was on keyboard. Because I told you, I've been playing keyboards as long as I've been playing guitar. But I would never do a tutorial or a video on it, because my plan is unorthodox. So I'm not trying to teach somebody bad habits. And I'm locked in forever, because it's kind of difficult to unlearn what you've learned and do it differently, So I'm just kind of, it's a done deal with the keyboard thing. I'm just a dabbler when it comes to that. I can play the chords while the other keyboard player is soloing, or I can play the strings while he's playing the chords. So that works, because again, my main instrument is guitar. So hopefully this is helpful, to the people that have asked me to do this video. As far as walking bass lines, quickly, it's like this. It's kind of like the guitar player playing a pentatonic scale, meaning that you got, say for instance, this is a pool, and you got notes in the pool. And at any given time you hit any of these notes, you're still in key, regardless of how sequence or what sequence you play them in, you're still in key. It's kind of the same concept with a walking bass line. It's a scale, and you just play those notes randomly, but still you're not out of key. And you learn those notes throughout the entire neck of the keyboard or of the fret, bass fret. But that's kind of old traditional jazz, and let me stress this to people because you don't know what you don't know. Focus on what's the present and what's going to be the future. The past is the past. It's cool to know all this stuff from an older era, but that's not going to put any money in your pocket. There's not too many places where you can play that style of music anymore. So you kind of invested in an outdated form of music that most people are no longer playing. I mean, it's nice if you just want to play it to appreciate it, but at some point in time, if you get good, you want to get paid. You know, plain and simple. If you're devoting a lot of time to this and not working a regular 9 to 5, you got to get paid to pay the bills. So, you know, I look at walking the bass as kind of an outdated type of playing bass because R&B or current music or popular music don't play that style. They don't walk basses in the punk or a pop or funk song or rock song, you know, just mainly in the jazz song. And again, even with jazz today, it's contemporary, meaning it's kind of like a marriage between R&B and old school jazz. It's not that traditional, the only is Monk, Bird, you know, Coltrane type of stuff. So kind of don't get caught up into that old stuff because that's old hat. You know, like I said in another video, vaudeville is not coming back. So why put a lot of energy and effort in studying something that's not going to be beneficial to you, never coming back, and no place to play it? You know, so sometimes you got to think ahead if you can to say, is this in my best interest? Because again, when I make that decision to devote most of my time towards guitar playing versus bass playing or drum or keyboard playing, it was a wise investment because again, I'm able to do much more as a guitar player than I am just a bass player. You know, so hopefully this has been helpful and enlightening to our viewers that asked me to touch on this, speak on this bass thing, and I just share it with you how I learned how to play bass because again, my playing gets the job done. You know, I really never want to be a super flashy guy like a Louis Johnson because it's just not my style to be flashy and just, I got a charge, everybody need to look at it, you know. I'm always the guy behind me in the backgrounds. I mean, one of my favorite bass player is Kool from Kool and the Gang. You know, I think his name is Robert Bell. You know, when you listen to his stuff, it's just getting the job done. There's nothing fancy and all this added note stuff, you know. No Victor Wooten kind of playing, just I'm in the pocket and I'm just holding it down. And that's kind of how, you know, I look at my bass playing. I'm just trying to hold it down. I'm not trying to be, you know, on my knees and all that kind of stuff. You know, there's some people that want to do all that, but I'm like, I just want to get the job done. I'm here just to get the job done. My name ain't on the marquee. I'm one of the players, just getting the job done. So that's how I look at bass playing. Everybody else is different. No two people are the same. So on that note, I'm going to sign off till next time. Thanks for watching.